The international soccer break is here this week, and highlighting that are the playoffs to decide the final 6 teams going to the Euros this summer. There will be 6 semifinal games going down on Thursday, March 21st. Most of them will be later in the afternoon if you're looking at Eastern time, but there is one. The first one is Georgia and Luxembourg going down at 1 o'clock p.m. all by itself at the Boris Bachati's Dinamo Arena in Tbilisi, Georgia. This is the Path C winner. Will play either Greece or Kazakhstan next week to decide one of those spots. Georgia were 4th in their qualifying group at 2-2-4. They scored 12 goals. They allowed 18 goals, but they did win their Nations League group in Division C to claim this spot here in the playoffs. Luxembourg were 3rd in their qualifying group at 5-2-3. They scored 13, did allow a bunch of goals at 19. They were behind Portugal and Slovakia, but they had 2 wins over Bosnia and Herzegovina, and they had a win and a draw versus Iceland. They also did draw Slovakia as well, so it was a very impressive showing by them. They were only 2nd in their Nations League group, but Turkey had already qualified, so here they are in the semifinals getting that spot. Georgia playing at home are the favorites, odds on at -125. The draw +240. Luxembourg 4-1. Georgia to advance by any means, as this game could go to extra time or penalties, is -250. Luxembourg +195. The over +135. The under, not expected to be a lot of goals here, -175. Both teams to score yes, +120, and both teams to score no, favored at -163. So let's get into a breakdown of this game. Let's look at the form of both of these teams and make a prediction for this game. If we look at the head-to-head between these teams, there's only ever been 4 all-time meetings, none since 2018. All of these games were friendlies, so no competitive matches. Georgia is 2-1-1 in those games. Luxembourg, though, did get their 1 win in that last meeting in 2018. Very low scoring. It was 1-0. For Georgia, they've never been into a finals of a major tournament, so this is a big game for them. They only have 2 wins in 7, but they also only have 4 losses in their last 22 games. Their games have typically always seen goals. If we look at their last 17 games, there's been 2 or more goals in 16 of those. That game was 0-0, so there's been no 1-0 games, just that one 0-0 every other game has seen at least 2. Over 2.5 has gone 13-4, so lots of goals. They've been solid when playing at home. They have just 1 loss in their last 11 when playing in Georgia. They're 7-3-1 in that time, and that 1 loss did come to Spain. No shame there. They've scored in 10 of those 11 home games. If we look at the Luxembourg side, they're in a very similar spot. They too have never reached the finals of a major competition, so this will also be a massive game for them as they look to get into that final game next week to decide who goes on. They've all, like I said, never been to a major tournament. They've been in excellent form. Prior to this qualifying campaign, they had only 7 wins in 117 Euro qualifying games, so this has been a big turnaround for them. They won their last 2 games. They've won 5 of 8. They've scored in 6 of 8. They've kept a clean sheet in 4 of 8. They've been shut out, though, twice against Portugal and Slovakia. So if we were betting both teams to score in those last 8 games for them, it would be just 3-5. So the no has hit 5 of 8 games. Georgia at home, they typically would have the best player probably on the field in Kvaratskhelia, but they will be without the Napoli man as he will be suspended from yellow card accumulation, which will be a big blow to them. They do usually score in their games. Their games do usually see goals. They did have a very tough group, though, with Spain, Scotland, and Norway during the group stage. Luxembourg, they proved to be a tough nut to crack. They did have plenty of good results, though, despite a slightly weaker group. Still, they only got blown out versus Portugal. All their other games were very close. They, too, are missing one of their strikers in Daniel Sinani, who will also be suspended. Still, they will have their all-time scorer, Gerson Rodriguez, in the lineup. So for me, they haven't been a bad road team as well. Even though being on the road will be a disadvantage, they are 5-3-2 in their last 10. They've scored a goal in 7 of those last 10. I think this should be a very tight game. Both teams fighting to get their first appearance in the Euros. Could be a both teams to score, maybe a 1-1. Considering both teams missing key attackers, and with so much on the line, I think this game will be very tight. Let's make the draw the best bet at +240. Who do you see moving on in this game to the game next week? Leave your bets down there in the comments, and stay tuned for more Euro qualifying predictions this week.